Cut off mom 8 years ago for cheating on dad, now she's calling to meet because. When I was 19 years old, something really upsetting happened. My mom cheated on my dad with one of his close friends. This friend was about the same age as my dad, which made the whole thing even more painful. This betrayal was really tough on my dad. He was heartbroken because it was a double blow. His wife and his good buddy betrayed him. It hit him really hard, and he ended up struggling with depression and trust issues for a long time after that. My dad was so hurt that he stopped hanging out with his friends altogether and kind of shut himself off from everyone. During that tough time, I stayed close to my dad and helped him get through it. We got some professional help, and thankfully, with therapy, he started to get better and is doing okay now. But because of everything that happened, the last time I talked to my mom, I told her she was done with me, that I didn't want anything to do with her anymore. So it's been about 8 years since I've spoken to her. Now to make things even more complicated, my mom ended up marrying my dad's friend, the same one she had the affair with. And believe it or not, she even sent me an invitation to their wedding, which I thought was pretty bold and hurtful given everything that had happened. Recently, after all these years, my mom has reached out to me again. I haven't decided what to do about it yet. It's a lot to think about, especially after how things went down and how they affected my dad and me. Ever since the whole mess with my mom cheating on my dad, which really turned our lives upside down, I haven't wanted to talk to her. It was a really rough time for me and my dad, and honestly, just thinking about those days brings back a lot of bad memories. Because of all that, I decided a while back to block her number and even block her on Facebook, and I did the same with her husband too. One day, out of the blue, I got a letter from her in the mail. My first thought was to just rip it up and toss it in the trash. Why even bother? Right? But something made me stop and decide to actually open it and see what she had written. In her letter, my mom said she really misses being part of my life and feels super sorry for all the pain she caused my dad and me. She wrote that over the years, she's tried a few times to talk to me about everything that happened, to explain things or apologize, but she couldn't reach me because, well, I had her blocked. Now she was asking if I could come over to her house to talk, just the two of us. She made it clear that her husband wouldn't be there. It would just be me and her. She seemed like she really wanted to make amends or at least explain her side of the story. I'm stuck feeling a bit confused about what to do next. On one hand, it's been so long, and she did put us through so much pain. But on the other hand, maybe there's a part of the story I don't know, or maybe, just maybe, there's a chance to clear the air. It's a lot to think about, especially considering how complicated and hurtful the past was. I'm really stuck on what to do next, and part of me just wants to keep being stubborn, like I have been for the last 8 years where I've pretty much acted like my mom doesn't exist. I also want to point out that through all this, my dad has never said a bad word about her. Even though he was deeply hurt, he never tried to make me see her in a bad light. Instead, he became depressed, lost his trust in friends, and generally stopped trusting people around him. The affair wasn't just a brief slip. It lasted for years, right under my dad's nose, with both my mom and his friend deceiving him. After some intense therapy, my dad began to heal and open up, but I chose a different path. I cut my mom out of my life completely as my way to cope and move on. Now, though, she's reached out wanting to talk, and I'm considering meeting her because we never really had a conversation about everything that happened. I never gave her a chance to explain herself, and part of me is honestly just curious to hear what she has to say. It's weird. I'm just tossing these thoughts around, unable to decide. Part of me wants to maintain the distance, to keep guarding myself against more pain, but another part is wondering if there's something important she needs to say, something that might change how I feel. It's a tough call, and I'm just not sure what to do. Now for some comments before the update. It's a tough situation to be in. I'm sorry for what you and your dad went through. If I were you, I would think hard about it before making any decisions. I would try to figure out what are the pros and cons of this potential meeting with your mother. Maybe now she's realized what she's done, but that doesn't mean you have to forgive her. The ball is in New York court. If you want to meet and talk with her, go ahead. But if you don't, that's fine as well. You don't owe her anything. She may have been your mother. But after what you put you through, it's understandable.